Do you ever feel like you're stuck in the same loop? Working all day, rushing through tasks, and yet somehow never feeling like you've got any time for yourself? Well, the truth is, it's probably not that you're always too busy. It's that there are small, silent time traps hiding in your daily habits that are stealing hours of your time each week without you even realizing it. And I know this because when I cut out just 8 of these habits, I saved over 20 hours each week. That's time that I can now use to work out, see friends and family, make actual progress on side projects, and even sometimes just relax without any guilt. But if you don't fix these things, they will continue to drain your energy and momentum and will keep you in that same cycle of busyness without making any real progress. So here are the 8 habits that you need to eliminate. Okay, number 1 is dwelling on mistakes, because replaying mistakes in your head, it's like paying rent to the past. It just keeps you stuck in the mistakes and prevents you from ever moving on. And it just consumes so much energy and time because you're probably just gonna feel pretty bad about yourself and ultimately might never actually move on from them and take any action forwards. And so instead what we wanna do here is, sure, focus on mistakes for a little bit and extract any lessons that you can from them. But once you've done that, just move on and don't look back. And honestly, once I started doing this, it saved me at least an hour each week from not overthinking what I had already done. Number 2 is around excessive TV. And I think TV is a little bit like junk food for your calendar almost. I mean, I think it's fine in moderation, but consume too much of it and you're probably gonna feel a little bit sluggish and you might wind up wasting a hell of a lot of time. And a quick Google search actually does say that apparently on average, people watch 28 hours of television each week. And I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that is a hell of a lot of time. I mean, like full-time jobs are like 35 to 40 hours. So at 28 hours, you're starting to creep up to that sort of level. And that does seem like a crazy amount of time to be spending on it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't watch telly at all. I mean, I still love a good TV show or film, but I think it's worth just being a little bit mindful of your television consumption. And for me, I decided to just set some parameters around my TV consumption, which is pretty much that I will only watch television with my partner, and really I'll only watch TV at the weekend. And honestly, again, just having those parameters in place has saved me like 10 hours each week. Number 3 is doom scrolling before bed. And I think doom scrolling is almost like having caffeine right before bed. I mean, it might feel nice in the moment, but in reality, you're probably not gonna be doing yourself any favors. And I mean, be honest with yourself. How many times have you said, all right, I'm just gonna quickly check something on my phone for 5 minutes, and before you know it, it's midnight, and then you're really actually struggling to get to bed when you finally try to. So instead what I did is try to replace it with some like wind down habits before bed. So for me, often this might be reading, or sometimes I'll just do like a very gentle, slow stretch. Or it might just be relaxing without doing anything that has kind of too much stimulation coming into me. And having these habits in place has definitely saved me a lot of time, and it's really improved the quality of my sleep. And it does just make me feel a bit more like I'm ending the day on my own terms. Number 4 is around perfectionism. And perfectionism, I think, is something that I've definitely struggled with. But I think perfectionism can really cause you to waste a lot of time, because when it comes to starting tasks, I think if you do have that perfectionist mindset, you might just think that you're actually never going to be able to do something well enough. And so you can just wind up procrastinating and potentially never even starting things that you want to. And then I think even once you've started tasks, I think just like endlessly tweaking things towards the end of them and trying to make them perfect is not really time well spent. And so when it comes to actually tasks themselves, I just try to like lower the bar a little bit for myself and just more aim for like good instead of perfect, and just try to get like 80 to 90% of the way there and just forget trying to perfect like that final 10%, because in reality, that final 10% is probably more just ego instead of actually impact. And by just kind of doing these things and trying to not be such a perfectionist, I would say it saves me about 3 hours each week in relation to tasks that I do. Number 5 is around mindless social media scrolling, which I'm sure is something that a lot of us fall into. And social media, it's almost like quicksand. It's like the more you move, the deeper you sink. And these platforms themselves, these algorithms are designed to basically try and keep you on them really for longer than you intend to be. And so because of that, you can just wind up accidentally wasting so much time on these things. And so for me, I just try to be a little bit more mindful and intentional as to how I use social media. And for me, it means normally having just 2 daily social media check-ins, which I normally do like directly after lunch and directly after dinner, just for like 10 minutes or so. The other time I might is if I'm just on the toilet. I don't mind kind of scrolling then either, but it's mostly just those lunch and dinner check-ins. And I find doing that, again, it saves me probably about 3 hours each week, and it also just saves me a lot of mental clutter. Number 6 is multitasking. And I think intuitively, we sometimes think like multitasking is not a bad thing to do, but the more and more productivity things you might read or consume, you start realizing how bad multitasking actually is. And I think the main reason is that when you try and multitask onto something else, it will take you a long time to actually really be able to refocus on the main thing that you were trying to do. And so as a result of that, you are just so much less efficient than you should be, and you're probably more likely to make mistakes in terms of what you're actually doing. And so what we need to do here is that once you've actually picked a task that you want to do, just stay on that one task and focus in and just lock in on that one task at hand. And doing that, I think, has saved me about 1.5 hours each week across the different tasks that I do. Number 7 is excessive news consumption. And I definitely used to be someone that would spend like hours each week constantly reading the news and watching daily updates and just kind of trying to stay on top of it like in real time. But you start realizing that the news just massively repeats itself. And really it's just like the same stories ticking over kind of almost all day throughout the week. And as well as that, you know, based on the current state of the world, it can also be quite depressing to just be like constantly getting blasted with all these, for the most part, quite negative news stories. So now what I do is I basically only read the news like fairly briefly a couple of times a week, and I just kind of skim the headlines, and maybe I'll read a couple articles in a little bit more detail. And honestly, doing that I think has given me the same level of awareness that I used to have by like constantly reading the news. And I feel just way better about myself and the world by not reading it as constantly as I used to. And number 8 is poor daily planning. And I think working without a plan, it's like driving without a map. You'll probably stay busy, but you most likely won't be getting to where you want to get to. And honestly, I think just spending like 10 minutes at the start of your day or even the night before, just planning out what you want to do can really save you so much time, and it can just help you to really prioritize what you want to do, and then it will give you that sense of direction to work towards. And then like at the end of each task as well, you won't have that like decision fatigue as to what you should do next, and you won't waste any like time within those transition periods. So planning is absolutely critical. So there you have it. 8 simple habits that I really think are easy to cut out, but can truly save you so much time. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.